Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. Yes, I know I've been promising these videos on a more regular basis, but maybe I should stop doing that, promising them on a more regular basis, because simply it's not happening. There's still a lot of things I do and somehow recording videos always goes down the pecking order and simply there is no time for this. However, this topic of playing well and blundering is one that I would rather talk about and not write, which is strange for me because I prefer writing, but okay, well, a good opportunity to record another video. So for this topic, what made me think about this? Well, actually what made me think about this was that this actually happened to me over the last weekend when I was playing in the 4NCL, the British League, and I played 2 games there, and this occurrence happened in both of these games. So let's start with the first one. You can see the position from the first game I played. I'm playing white. White is to play his 35th move, and I played a good game. My head was working well, I was calculating well, I was seeing things relatively clearly, and I outplayed my FIDE Master opponent, and now I'm winning. Yeah, I mean that monster pawn on d6 should really decide the game. Here I can play the simple move c4 with the idea of c5, creating a protected passed pawn. Okay, b6, b4 and then c5. It should be a relatively easy win. However, something strange happened. For some reason, I started to believe that I should be winning this in a couple of moves. That I should be just the game is winning in very quickly. This desire to actually be winning quickly led me to a bad state of mind where I stopped looking for decent moves for my opponent. And as always in such cases, disaster struck very quickly. So I played the next move quickly. Even though I noticed c4, c5, I just thought that I was winning after rook e3. Embarrassingly, you could say, I was checking only silly moves like queen d6, rook e8 and mate, or I win the queen, or queen a2 and then d7 and I win again. So it wasn't then a surprise that the moment I played the move rook e3, I immediately saw the move c5, which makes sure that black captures the pawn on d6, and after this the position is just equal. And after queen c5, queen d6, black has equalized because I lost my main trump, the pawn on d6. I was still in a state of shock, having missed c5 when he played the move queen d5. And now another confusing situation happened, because on one side I was happy that he did not play c5, but on the other hand, queen d5 was another move I missed. So I was sort of confused, you could say. Now I immediately saw that after queen d5, cd5, rook e7, I have a very advantageous rook endgame. Yeah, he takes there, I take there. Okay, a6, queen, rook b4, controlling d4 square. So I still have a very advantageous rook endgame, where I can safely press for a win. But then again, I thought again, still having the same impression as before, that I should be winning in a couple of moves. So I said, okay, well, why rook endgame where queen f6 and I just win? I mean, he still can't take on d6, I go rook e8. If he moves the rook, I go rook e7 and then d7, rook e8, everything is just crushing. And without spending more time on checking for decent, any defensive try, and still assuming that he blundered hugely with queen d5, I played the move queen f6. And of course, the only decent, actually the only move for black not to lose here is to give check, which is really again embarrassing to miss such a move. And after I'm forced to go king h2, he takes the pawn on d6 with check again, forcing the exchange of queens. And now what happened? Instead of winning, yeah, still relatively easily, I was stuck in a rook endgame and pawn down. Luckily enough, after rook e7 I offered a draw, and he accepted, even though he could have continued. Yeah, most likely the pawns on the queen side would be exchanged, and I would be a pawn down 4 against 3 on the same side, but he still could have pressed after for many hours, yeah, and it would have been very unpleasant to suffer like that after playing a good game for almost for 34 moves. Yeah. So pretty surprising thing, really. I was surprised at myself that I was really playing well, my head was working well, I was calculating well, and yet I could still blunder. And in this case, I would say the reason was that this emotional, you could say, emotional, in a way, turmoil, and maybe perhaps also impatience, wanting to win quickly. Yeah, not having the patience just to win the game as it should be won without any desire whether that be quick or slow. I just wanted to win quickly, and then I blundered twice in a row. So, not a good start of the weekend, but yeah, the worst was yet to come. So, let's check then the second game. Yeah, the second game was even worse. Okay, so this is the position from the second game. I'm black, and I was playing Grandmaster Erdos from Hungary, and I managed to get all my preparation in, and by move 12 I had 1 hour advantage on the clock, which is quite huge. Yeah, being low on time, he decided to simplify the position, and now we have this position on the board where which I calculated some moves ago to be relatively harmless for me. But here's having such a huge time advantage, I decided to take some time and just find the most exact way to simplify and then liquidate the position to a draw, which obviously is the most likely outcome. So of course the natural move that I considered was taking there and taking on g5. And now, to be quite honest, I did not really see a clear cut, or let's say the clearest cut to a draw. There's more than one actually, and in fact this is also some theory, which at that point I forgot. And there is more than one way. For example, h6 can be played, and then rook d8, or let's say rook d8 immediately, or even I think bishop f5. I think, well, anyway, black has more than one way to make a draw. But the point is that I was, in a way, lazy-ish in trying to calculate the exact draw, but at the same time, in some sort of a parallel thinking, I thought that perhaps in this position I can play in a more precise way and force the draw with less inconvenience, if that endgame was actually an inconvenience. So I spent some, I wrote that I spent some 20 minutes here, and I came up with this idea: why allow those knights to jump around in the middle game, in the end game, where I can just force him to exchange the moves with a win of tempo by bishop e6. And then of course this was just a disaster. Again, I would like to stress that by this point, and some moves before, even though I was in my preparation, my head was still working well. I was seeing things clearly. I was feeling well. The moves, the lines I calculated later after the game, I checked with an engine; they were correct. Even the end game, I was looking at like queen d5, and here the moves I was looking at bishop b7, h6, rook d8, and so on. They were also correct, but just I was not, let's say, willing to enter here and just find the most exact way to a draw. I somehow thought that there should be an easier way, so I wasn't even willing to, if you can call it suffer a little bit to make that draw, and I thought, no, I can do it with all comfort. So this kind of again, wishing something to be true made me believe it is, and that led to the move bishop e6. And now if you look at it, if he exchanges queens, yes, I would be right. In fact, I also made sure I'm careful here, so I spent time checking the exchange sacrifice, rook e6, fe6, queen e6, king h8, and then making sure I wasn't losing there. So, and that was exact. Yes, I'm not losing there. It's actually quite good for me, and so on. And then, of course, I also checked what happens if he takes, because okay, he takes, I take, and I thought, okay, rook d1, queen e7, and I'm fine here. Yeah, pair of bishops and so on. Of course, completely missing the obvious move, knight d5. Now, I can't really say if I missed it or I thought that I had this trick, queen d5 and rook d8, but either way it doesn't really matter, because I missed then queen g5, remaining a whole piece down. So again, a really elementary blunder on the surface, but under the surface I know what was going on, and I hope I managed to explain it to you, that I was actually seeing things well in a way. But then again, it sounds a bit contradictory that even though seeing things well and calculating well, it is possible to miss something simple as knight d5. Again, I would explain that as I mean, the culprit for this blunder, I would explain it as this psychological state of wanting something to be true and believing it to be, rather than just seeing things as they are. If I had not been so eager to draw this game with as little discomfort as possible, I would have simply taken on d5 and just played that endgame, yeah. And also, without any preconceptions, I would have probably just calmly seen that after bishop e6 takes on g5, rook d1, he attacks my queen. My pieces are kind of entangled, so harassing the queen will probably lead to some problems with the bishop on g5, and I just, without preconceptions, I would have calmly calculated and seen that I'm losing a piece in that case, and then I would have played queen d5. So taking out the emotional content would have led to a better, let's say, we could say a better calculation in a way, but again, it was the emotional coloring that led to not being able to see simple things. Again, well, this video, a bit more rambling than the others, but I just thought that talking about this issue maybe helps me and also helps you in a way to understand the background of the blunders that happen in our games. Well, what can I say? Yeah, not the very happy games to present, but I must resume responsibility for my horrible blunders. Yeah, and hopefully I managed to learn from this, and I managed also to avoid similar occurrences in the future. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Cheers.